All right, so I'm gonna make fun of these people with a little bit of love because they don't seem like they're bad people or anything like that. But I just had to point out, that when people aren't always all there. Um, I'd seen this movie called Crawl, which you don't know what it's about. It's an American horror film where a woman gets trapped in a hurricane with her father in an abandoned house. The neighborhood floods, and also a bunch of alligators from a nearby alligator park that you see at the beginning of the film, Alligator Lagoon, Alligator Park. It floods out, so they're drifting through the streets and killing people and trying to kill her, and they're chasing people through her house. It's ridiculous. Probably the way it happened could never fucking happen. But I just got a kick out of these two for whatever reason. I'll put the picture up here. I think their name is Florida Central or whatever, and correct me if I'm wrong. But what came up in the banner when I was looking at reviews of the movie was an official review from people who work with alligators and facts and myths. So I thought it would be like a fun video of like, okay, this is true, but this isn't. This is true, but this isn't. And it would seem, first off, I had to point out these two didn't even watch the fucking movie. They didn't see the movie, and they fully admit it. They come on there and say, "Listen, we know that there's this movie Crawl coming out with alligators in a house in Florida. What's that about? It's a guy, young, good-looking dude, and his good-looking counterpart female, and they're sitting there." And they just annoyed me for whatever reason because they're sitting there talking. First of all, they're sitting doing the video with an alligator to show they're edgy and cool. Like that's like, all right, okay, given. And they work with alligators. I get it. The whole time I'm sitting there secretly thinking, how funny would it be if the alligator? Because the whole thing is they were kind of seem to be offended in some way by the movie, depicting alligators as killers who will eat humans. I don't really see how they disprove that theory, but that's okay. So they're sitting there with this alligator there the whole time, and I'm just watching the alligator the entire video that they're disproving everything because I'm waiting for the alligator to take a bite out of that guy's dick. I was just waiting for it. Like how fun? I mean, it wouldn't be funny, but how funny would it be if things went haywire and they were doing this? Alligators. This is how alligators get a bad name. They rarely go after humans. If you stand up in water, they are afraid of humans who are tall. Midgets, they'll go after, but humans that actually are normal people size, they'll fuck with. They run away. But how funny would be they're doing their spiel, all of a sudden, like, one just goes for his dick. Like, oh my God, she's like, stabbed. The girl's like trying to help, and she starts like biting her arm off. Maybe I saw too much of the movie. Okay, fine. So they come on, they're like, first off, we just want to address right away, we have not seen the movie Crawl. So if you haven't seen something, maybe you shouldn't talk about it. I'm just saying, maybe you should see it, then bitch about it, or whatever. Okay, fine. So like, but we saw the trailer, and we have some issues with this movie. First off, I mean, this is what gives gives alligators a bad name is they don't, and the girl was way more annoying than the guy was. The guy was fine. He was being really factual and all that. He was basically saying how alligators don't chase. They don't do this shit through the water like Jaws or whatever. Like they don't maneuver that way. That's not how they hunt. And the whole time, all I could think about when I'm listening to this is, it's a movie. It's a fucking movie. Do they not know it's a movie? Did they think this is like National Geographic and it's like CGI shit they put in there? Like, no, it's a movie. Of course it's bullshit. It's a movie. And so the girl took more offense, it seemed like. She's like, yeah, I like work with alligators too. And she's cute and she's blonde and everything's groovy. And she's like, and sometimes, it's like alligators, like if they open their mouth really wide underwater, like you see, and again, we didn't see the movie or anything because that costs money and we're working in an alligator farm and we're obviously very poor. But like if we actually did see a movie and the alligator opened his mouth, it'd be like that alligator would drown opening his mouth that far underwater. This is stupid. First off, okay, probably, I don't know. Humans can open their mouth all the way underwater. I've seen plenty of humans underwater go and stupid shit like that. Never seen them drown. Never happened. Then the guy goes on, and it gets dumber as it goes along. So the guy's like, listen, this also makes people afraid of alligators. And I live in Florida, and I run I run an underwater alligator exhibit. Pause. Say it again. You run an underwater alligator exhibit. I wouldn't go to an underwater alligator exhibit if you fucking paid me. People are stupid. One person I know went on an alligator cruise thing in a canoe, first of all, like a powered canoe it looked like. And she took video and she just screamed the whole time because she's like me. She's a pussy from the city who just screamed because an alligator got way too close to the boat and started kind of knocking against the boat. Don't tell me they don't know some shit's going down. They might be smart creatures, but I'm pretty sure they don't mind feasting on a human now and then. And she was scared shitless. That was all I needed to see. That little bit on her iPhone that made me wet myself and be like, I'll never be near an alligator. Nope, don't care. Nope, yep. You got me. I didn't grow up in Florida. I didn't grow up around alligators. I see one, I'm running. I'm running the other direction. I don't care. Fuck that. So, and then it just gets more like they're addressing every bizarre point of the movie that they're like at one point, and again, they didn't see the movie, so they're kind of speculating at some point, which has irritated me for some reason. The blonde especially was doing it. She's like, oh, the guy says this quote. He goes, well, and it's like, you're far more likely to be killed by a vending machine than an alligator. Google it. Okay, I will. Maybe he's right, statistically, but I will just say I have seen in my lifetime on the news of people getting killed by alligators. I have never once turned on the evening news or looked on an app or whatever and be like, and it's sad news today. An old man was crushed by, a Coca-Cola machine when he banged on the machine. This is what he said. He said most people are more statistically likely to be killed because they bang on a machine. And in this scenario, I guess he's pictured they're not getting their vending snack. They're upset. And they're banging on the machine enough and jerking it around that it falls on them, crushes them, kills them, and their intestines come flying out of their mouth. That's what he thinks. He thinks, or Google thinks, whoever, that this is statistic, that you are more likely to this is what has to go wrong in this scenario for this to be true. You have to not get your snack, which doesn't always happen. That happens rarely. Like once in a while, but not every time you're at a vending machine. Okay. You have to have that go wrong. You have to get mad enough to bang your fist and then decide that's not good enough and then shake the machine. And then for some reason you decide to go, whoa, and grab this heavy ass machine that falls on top of you. Those machines are so fucking heavy. There's no way they're falling on top of you. I'm calling a bullshit statistic on that. That is not true. I have heard of alligators killing people. I've heard of alligators biting people. I have heard of it. Okay. I've seen news stories on it. Not often. Of course, it's rare, but still it has happened. I have never once seen the nightly news, and another vending machine has killed somebody today, like because the stupid people are out, and what they like to do when they don't get their Twix bar, they get angry and violent and retard like, and they start shaking the machine and it falls on them because those machines, they're like a piece of paper. If you don't hold a vending machine down right, a wind comes along, it'll just blow out the window. Those are heavy machines. Then she's like, and by the way, this whole movie takes place in a house, and the alligator's in the house. Like, how realistic is that? Okay, it's not. It's a movie. None of this is really realistic. But let's argue for a minute and say that if a levee breaks and shit floods, shit could conceivably. I saw Hurricane Katrina. Now, there weren't alligators out there that I know of, but shit can break your windows of your house. Water can come in. It's not too far of a stretch to think that maybe if there are alligators in the area or an alligator farm or exhibit like in this movie. Because that was another thing. Like, where do all these alligators come from? At the very fucking beginning of the movie, she's driving through this hurricane. The camera pans right to the thing. Alligator farm. Danger. Bullshit's gonna happen. Watch out. Okay? Yes, they make several stupid mistakes in this movie, but it's a dumb horror movie. What do you want from it? And she just goes on. She's like, and then at one point, it's like there's eggs in like the house. Like there's alligator babies. What are they gonna be, like gremlins? Like attacking? They're like this big. It would help you to see the movie because you would then know that the baby alligators are shown to be baby alligators. They're not nipping at anybody's heels. They're not doing anything wrong. It's more than likely in this bizarre scenario, the mother was protecting them. There was more than one alligator. There was a ton of alligators in this fucking movie. It's an alligator movie. I just like that these people had to take time out and address that movies sometimes portray things fictionally. And then I got two bizarre replies. One of them was okay, but the other one was just really bizarre. I thought initially the first reply was from the actual channel owner, but I didn't pay attention. It wasn't from him and her. There was something else she said at some point that was hilarious. I don't know. But whatever. They're sitting there, bitching about how alligators are depicted because, I'm sure the alligators are going to go on strike any minute now. They're just going to be like, fuck that movie. Seriously? That's how they say we are? No. First of all, we wouldn't even fall. I would say you have other valid points to argue about that movie. There is never been a woman that looked that hot with makeup on, wet, after being bitten several times by an alligator and, dragged through a fucking house in a hurricane. Never happened. You could argue that that's the most glaringly obvious thing to me that they fucking took liberties with. There is no way a girl's got perfectly slick back hair, just a little, choreographed bruises on her. Looks great. Looks super duper hot with a tight shirt on there. No way. She would be covered in shit. There'd be debris stuck in her fucking eye and crap like that. She'd be hobbling around. Like, she'd be missing fucking teeth. I mean, it would be a nightmare if she went through everything she really went through. That's where you could bitch about it. Oh, that's another thing. She goes, at one point this alligator like breaks a window, and they wouldn't do that. Like they're not going to use their face. They don't know what windows are. I mean, maybe, but they wouldn't do that, which is not what happened. What happened was the levee broke. The water's rushing in. The alligator is being rushed with the water. It ends up rushing right back through the window, being propelled by the force of the water. Okay. So the first response I get is something like this, and I thought I was getting really kind of sassy because I thought it was the YouTube owners. They were like, yeah, well, you should know Hollywood does exaggerate things. They made people afraid of alligators. Look what happened with Jaws. They made people afraid of sharks, and now they're so bad they take liberties with things. They make people afraid of ghosts. That was so incomprehensible and so Down syndrome, I could barely keep up with it. But I was like, okay, let's break this down. Yes, Hollywood does exaggerate. And you use Jaws as an example. Great whites attack people all the time. That happens. That happens in Florida a lot. That's happened like, there was a summer where it was going on like continuously. So maybe people should be afraid of great whites. I'm just saying, or sharks in the water. I'm thinking that if you're paddling in the water and there's a shark, it's not like you go, ooh, that's so pretty. You say, fuck, help, fuck. Just play dead, float to the surface. Just fucking, I don't even know if you're supposed to move. I forgot what the movie said to do. Yes, you should be able to. And then, first of all, I don't believe in ghosts. But secondly, Hollywood depicts them as evil and demonic and blah, blah, blah. Not always. That's bullshit. There's Ghost, the movie, where it was Patrick Swayze. I mean, friendliest ghost you could ever meet, right? There's Casper. There's, there's good ghosts in movies. But also, yeah, why wouldn't you be afraid of a ghost? If I see a ghost, I'm going to look at it like a human being. And this is what I mean by that. I'm going to look at it like, is this human good or is it fucked? Because this could be a good ghost, or this could be like a Linda Blair gets inside you demon ghost, makes your head spin around, you're masturbating with a crucifix on a Sunday night, and that's always for a Saturday. We know that. That's just weird and demonic any other night. Come on, let's stop this nonsense, people. But yeah, it was so funny to me. It would be like the whole video of them defending the alligators to me was just kind of funny. It would be like me making a video. I'd be like, listen, I have some things to say. Everybody is going on about Star Trek. Obviously, that would never happen. We all know Spock has pointed ears like that because how Vulcans fuck is the woman has a vagina on each side of her leg, and the Vulcan males just kind of use their head like this with either side of those pointy ears to get her off. So I'm so offended that somebody might go to a movie and think that, Vulcans just have pointy ears because it looks cool. All right. I mean, and we all know nobody would ever let an Asian drive the spaceship because it would crash like in 5 seconds. We all know that. Come on, what are we thinking here? You're stating the obvious that a movie is bullshit, that is taking extremes. And so then I realized the comments I was going back and forth with was not the moderator or the owner of the channel, but the owner of the channel then did say to me, is like, we're just doing what people asked us to do. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I don't believe like 100 or 200 people asked you to do a movie to say whether the depiction of alligators was realistic in Crawl, because then that is 200 people who need to get out of their parents' basement and find something to fuck, anything at this point, because that's a sad existence. But I'm sure a few people might have said that. Oh, God, Jesus. Like, seriously? And then he goes, I'm sorry it offended you. And this is what precipitated that. I did have a snarky comment I put on there. I'm not going to lie. After seeing this video very late at night, having a rough day, I wrote something to the effect, and you can go on their channel and see it, something to the effect of, so bottom line, you're saying movies exaggerate. And in other news, and he did take offense to it, the channel owner, or the guy who runs the alligator underwater breakdancing exhibit. I forget what it is. I think the alligators actually fingerprint, like Rembrandt shit. Like he puts he just gets under there with them with the scuba gear and all that, puts paint under little fucking, what is it, their claws or whatever, and just gives them a canvas. It's like interpretive weird dance painting art exhibit, bizarre college student nightmare. But he's like, I'm sorry you're offended by it. And I answered him. I said I wasn't offended by it. I just thought it's hilarious that you have to point out that this movie, Hollywood exaggerates shit. We know they do. Fuck. But then I have the other person who had a name that made it seem kind of official, like Alligator Incorporated or something like that. I thought they were with these people. They're apparently just a fan. And they're like, well, I just think it's rude to come on to somebody else's channel and say something rude. And I'm like, well, luckily I don't give two flying fucks what you or anybody else thinks. And secondly, it was a joke. Just lighten the fuck up. And I'm waiting to see the reply on that one. But I don't know. I didn't know if this is funny. I just thought I'd explain it. It tickled me that these people were so offended that alligators were being depicted badly. And the part where the alligators started singing like, really racist spiritual songs in a racist black dialect in that movie, they would never do that. We all know alligators like to yodel. I mean, come on, if you're gonna try, we just don't want people to like be afraid of alligators. Here's where we disagree again. I know he said he's seen alligators in real life. I know he works with alligators. I don't trust alligators. I don't trust them at all. I don't trust alligators. I don't trust crocodiles. Any animal, or reptile can be dangerous. Don't tell me those things don't bite you. I don't believe that for a fucking minute. If I see one and I come up on one in a field and shit like that, and I'm walking in a field in Illinois for whatever reason, because I gotta make sure that girl I, got rid of, she's really buried, and I say, help, help, just putting up like one hand, like, screaming over the dirt I shoved in her mouth. That never happened. That's a joke. Well, okay, fine. She got away and she's happy with her family now. And damn it, she's gonna fucking someday they're gonna find out. No, it's just like I just found it really hilarious. I mean, Crawl was a shitty movie that was good, if that makes any sense. It was a good B movie. Okay, that's all it is. I don't believe alligators are gonna go in your house. I don't believe they're after one person in particular. But then again, I never went to a summer camp and believed that a masked maniac was gonna kill me, one who's come to life after his mother committed a massacre like just 2 years prior. Like I can differentiate what could happen versus what wouldn't happen. That's all I'm saying. So take it for what it's worth. They were really cool though when I answered them back. So I don't hate. They're cool. I'm just busting their balls a little bit. It was funny to me. It was actually interesting. Some of the things I did learn about alligators. There, like I said, that they do not like Stephen King being read to them. They will shake their heads angrily, but they love Dean Koontz. See, there's lots of stuff you can learn in this life.